So CWS Cleanrooms, we've had a few different name changes over the years. We're based in Spiddal, in about 12 kilometres west of where we are here in Salt Hill. What we do is we provide cleanroom garment solutions and clean area solutions to customers in the medtech and pharma spaces. So we're very proud to have a customer base right throughout the country in those sectors. It's a very buoyant, very growing sector, and we're happy to say that on the coattails of that, we've been growing and developing ourselves.
And yourself then, what's your role within Cleanrooms? And then I'll let you get started.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the operations manager, so basically I'm responsible for the week-to-week performance of the plant and also some of our strategic projects, including recruitment, being a very one that's right at the top of the list at the moment, but also we're growing, we're looking to expand, we're looking to move to the other side of the country as well and grow there, and there's a lot going on. The other thing is we're part of a German parent company, CWS, who's headquartered in Duisburg in Germany, so we're part of a cleanroom community there. We also have with us today partners SSC, a company we purchased last year, also based in Galway. Their speciality, their USP is cleanroom cleaning. So they're very active here in Galway, also in Limerick and throughout the country in the eastern seaboard as well. They're a very good niche to ourselves. They tie in with the strategy that the parent company has of being not just specific, but being a clean area solutions provider.
Okay, lovely. It's great to have a local company with us here. So I suppose we'll let you take the floor, and thanks so much, Ciaran, for joining us here today. You can take the floor.
Thank you very much. So I'll get the shameless plug out of the way first. Anyone that visits our stand and submits a CV has a chance to win a €250 voucher for a weekend break. So we're just up here on the left-hand side as you go up along here for the final few hours. So feel free, drop in a CV, even if it's not something that might be of direct relevance or interest. So I suppose what I want to start on is I'm with the company over 20 years, and my previous role was in account management, a very customer-facing role. Started actually up in Intel in Leixlip in Kildare for a number of years, and that's a very dynamic, buoyant, progressive, sometimes aggressive environment. And I suppose I came into a culture as well when I joined the company that one of my first impressions was, and we always say the customer is always right, but there was also the customer has said jump, and we have to say how high. And I think there was almost maybe a subservience around that. And it was, sure, the reputation would grow on the back of the quality of the service and the responsiveness, and those things remain very important. But it was definitely the culture there, and there was that gulf between a provider and a customer. I suppose what I want to touch on here is, did I skip a slide? The landscape, I think, though, has changed. In 2010, there was a recession, as we know, from 28 after the property bubble. And the thing we valued most for those few years was the security of a job. If we had been with the company for 10 years plus or 15, we were able to breathe, we were able to put bread on the table, we were able to provide, and we had that security. And you got to remember that while things were developing and moving in the years leading up to that, people were jumping around a lot, and especially in the medtech sector, somewhere like here in Galway. So I think everyone for those few years was happy to have their job. If we fast forward to 2020, and there was an instant impact on labour, on productivity, on work. A lot of places had to close, but people were protected. And people weren't thrown out in the streets not that they were thrown out in the streets years ago, but there wasn't certainly the same fear. People's income was being guaranteed, and people were able to, with that security, maybe find other ways. And a good example is actually, that's been used is hairdressers, where they were able to go and work almost as independent sole traders and provide mixers. And you could see the same in other trades, like we see it a lot with electricians. And I think what's resulted from that is we had some short-term impact on unemployment for sure, but we're now in a situation very soon after the pandemic that we have effectively full employment in Ireland. And there's lots of different reasons for that. But one of the impacts of this on the employee is that it's not as important anymore to report to the man, to be part of an organisation and have the security and everything that goes with it. A good example is of electricians in this locality, where if a local multinational might need some electricians on their staff, be it with a contractor or be it with direct, I notice that a lot of them now are offering a 4-day week, which is quite attractive to someone in a situation like that. The 3 days, they can use them to do not just their leisure time, but maybe also to do work on their own. The one with the hairdressers, you're hearing about hairdressers saying to salons, I will be available to work on a Wednesday. I'll let you know the day before, but they've got a lot going maybe themselves in their own house. So it's a paradigm shift, and the dynamic is changing. And there isn't, I suppose, employers don't need, or employees don't need employers as much as they do anymore. And I think it's a big part of the reason why we're here today. It's an employees market. There's a lot of people here. I'm sure the majority of them are not unemployed. They're just having a look around. It's there's no desperation among people, and if there is, it's probably among the employers, if we're honest, because it's really tough out there. Tough to attract, retain staff, tough to give them the motivating factors, the geographical factors, and the sense of purpose. And I think we're all trying different ways and all doing creative things like the example I gave there. So I suppose what's happening then, if you bring that to a more macro level and look at the service providers, like the company I work with myself. And I suppose the company I work with myself, as I mentioned earlier, we're a German multinational. So we're part of a team of over 5,000 employees throughout the continent of Europe. So they've obviously got their own brand, their own identity, their own values, their own way of operating, and I'll touch on that in a little while. So I suppose what I've seen over the course of my career is not so much we'll do what we want to do, what you want, and there still is a bit of that, but it's more shifting towards this is how we work and this is what we will provide for you. So I think what's happening is, and customers are realising it, and I think we're sitting around tables, be they on Teams or physical tables, as peers, not as servants and customers. And I think the dynamic, and you can see it here, if you look at the model here, there's an equity there. There's stuff about payment. Cash flow is important to both suppliers and customers. Lots of customers now are actually offering quicker payment of invoices for maybe service benefits or cheaper pricing. So there's what will benefit each, what can scratch each other's back. And there's a bit of that going on rather than, we're paying you to provide this service. So the dynamic is changing. And I think what we're definitely noticing ourselves is the customers, in some cases, need us more than we need them. We work in cleanroom garments. They're process critical. People don't have a decontaminated cleanroom garment and set of cleanroom consumables to manufacture their product. People can't get into the cleanroom. They can't meet the demands, the needs at that time, especially look at the pharma industry and the pace at which that has begun to operate in recent years post-pandemic. So again, the strength of the supplier has definitely grown, and it's creating a paradigm shift in itself. And this thing is still ongoing. There's a bit more to go in it. And information sharing, being flexible, being open, sharing data, sharing ERP systems. But I think it's shifting, as I summarize, from can you do this, or will you do this, or this is what we need, to here's how we do what we do. And I suppose the company ourselves, what we do in our own company, I won't touch on this for a long time, for too long, but we provide a range of different services. And the way we brand this is a solution provider, not a service anymore. So we're providing you with solutions, perhaps even to problems that you don't know you have. And I suppose there's a bit of sales talk in that, but we're also providing, as you can see even with the image, there's a lot of diversity there. There's an image there that we're just saying to people, we're not just going to deliver what you want, we're more than that. And I think this is a good example of how service providers are and you see it with cleaning companies. They're international. ISS are Danish, Grosvenor, all these companies are from, they're multinationals too. The one we're focused on ourselves is the cleanroom one. And obviously in Ireland, we're in a space where industry basically is the cleanroom space. You know, we don't manufacture cars, we don't have heavy industry here. And I suppose there's a risk associated with that. There is the dependence that the central bank just called out earlier this week, and they called it out in every review, on the multinational sector and the level of dependency that we have there. But yeah, it's a big part of the reason why I'm here looking for staff, and it's a big part of the reason why I have a job, and so many others that exist on the back of these. Our own company, as I said, we're based in headquartered in Germany. We've got cleanroom locations dotted throughout Germany, serving Austria, Switzerland as well. In Benelux, we're the biggest of the lot is in Spittal here in Galway. And as I said earlier, we're planning to construct a new cleanroom in Dublin as well. The Irish cleanroom sector for a long time there's more cleanrooms, clean space, more people working in cleanrooms in Ireland than in any other OECD country. I think we all know a big reason for that. And I suppose post-Brexit, it's something that's even strengthened because these customers are happy to have a hub for the EMEA territory that's English-speaking, that's already maybe has subdivisions already ingrained there that understand the culture, and yeah, it's strong at the moment. It's actually developing at such a pace now. I think what we've seen post-vaccine and the race to get a vaccine in time is that this is now an expectation for every product that these pharmaceutical companies are manufacturing. So if we can get those Pfizer and BioNTech or AstraZeneca vaccines done inside a year. Previously, this would have been maybe a 2.5-year cycle. Now it's been expected of every other product. So everything is moving at a much faster pace. And again, just to show, we're more than just a service provider. And I'm not just saying this to plug our own company. I'm just saying that this is how the cultural paradigm is shifting. It's not just we will deliver your product, we will deliver your service. We will clean your floor or whatever it is. We have values, and every presentation that we would do, we would be very proud about showcasing these things to our customers. And, you know, our parent company are very strong on throwing the same thing at us, and I don't say that lightly. I firmly believe in it, that culture comes before strategy, process comes before results, how comes before what. And it's a different version of what you see when you visit a customer of ours at a year-end review, and they'll show us their core values as well. So very quickly run through them. The first one, think customer first. I suppose it's one that's long-standing, and it does refer to what I was talking about a few minutes ago, that the customer will come first. I personally would challenge it a little bit. I think the pandemic has shown us that your people have to come first. Your people are your biggest investment. You wouldn't have a customer if you don't have your people. If your people weren't turning up to work and staying safe and minding themselves, our customer base wouldn't have been able to perform and exist, and a lot of them were contributing to a lot of the solutions that we've been able to provide that has us all in here mixing away and not wearing masks. So the starting point is always, I think, looking out for your own people. So, but there's more to just thinking customer first than doing what they say. It's all about a process. It's about how easy you are to do business with, how you learn from what you're doing wrong, how you're communicating, what the level of integrity is and compliance. Are you doing the right thing when nobody's looking? We're in a space where we're bringing in a lot of unskilled. They're learning a very tacit industry, a very tacit kind of skill set. There's not many cleanroom garment providers in Ireland. There's only 2 other plants like our own. There's very few people. There's probably nobody else in Ireland that has the very same job as I have. So it's there's a lot of kind of what they call tacit knowledge, or knowledge that's particular to that industry. So that's something we should leverage and do well with. But it also means that the disadvantage to that is if you know something too well, there's two things. One, you think, I can be the system, I can be the process, my knowledge is greater than any other system. What does that give rise to? Maybe an inability to learn, an inability to continuously improve, and a fear of different ways of doing things and different threats. So think customer first. It goes an awful lot deeper than just give them what they want. Empower others, and I know the word empowerment is something that's it's up there with reaching out as one of these buzzwords that we're definitely hearing too much about in recent years. But again, I suppose the basic thing here is teamwork, and I suppose the underlying behaviour is not having a fear of having someone on your team coming up with the idea and being the star performer and being the player of the project and being the person who's made the change and being able to champion that and not be looking over the shoulder and not be looking for their personal gain. And the person who does that, that's the leader. The person who has the self-awareness to know it's not always all about me, and the person who can see what the others are bringing to the team and are able to call that out and not take the credit. That's where you see leadership, and that's what the offset of that is. Other people, it enhances their sense of purpose, gives them a sense of growth, and ultimately that leads to retention, that leads to people maybe staying with the company and moving on to a next project. So it's a tough one in our industry. We have a lot of people who are kind of lifers in our own. Some people are very open-minded about it. Others, quite naturally, will be protective. So, and then leadership. It's a word that people fear a lot. Some people just think, yeah, I'm a manager, so I'm a leader. That's a very dangerous assumption, and I don't have the time to get into all of that. But there's also the fear of talking about leadership or delving into it or trying to interpret it or trying to see where do I see it in my everyday life. Is it the person, and the coronavirus was another, the pandemic was a great example. It was the person that was coming in early, wiping down their station, that was looking out for the person around them. It was the people that were doing those quiet things. They were the leaders. They were the people that kept keeping things going. We all saw, even with Leo Varadkar, we all thought it was great leadership when he gave those first few speeches, but we also all noticed how tired we all got of it, and how 12 months later we didn't necessarily think he was a great leader. So leadership is the small thing every day, not the grandstanding, with full respect to the leader of Fine Gael. Improve every day. This is just one about initiative, finding a different way, having sometimes the perspective that the glass is half empty rather than half full, but also having the mindset that goes with the leadership one, that, you know, we did well, but we're not going to reflect on that. There might be a better way to do it. And I suppose if you really, really summarize this, it's the difference of being proactive and being reactive. If you're reactive, you're looking for that pat in the back for whatever it was that was done. The proactive person is there saying, well, listen, the next time we go at it or when we go into another project, here's what we will bring and here's what we won't bring. You hear it in sport, how teams use a loss, how successful teams, it's the games that they've lost where they've learned and the hurt and how they've used that well. Taking ownership is another one that has its challenges. You know, there's a traditional mindset that it's a sign of weakness to put up your hand and say sorry. And there's a lot of still people out there that struggle with the concept that it's a sign of strength to put up your hand and display humility and say you're sorry. And it's easy for me to say this and stand up here and talk about this, and it sounds good, but maybe if I'm in a situation, will I be as honest and upfront with my reaction? And will I be able to maybe put it on an email and actually put my word out there and say, hey? And are people, again, fearful that long-term this might actually gain you respect, or they don't trust that, and that they might. So, again, honesty of effort, but just, I suppose it's also just saying, here's what we've got wrong, and here's what we're going to learn from it, and just to be comfortable with that. And it's easy to talk about it, but to put it into action in everyday scenarios in a workplace, there's loads of opportunities in a service industry. There's loads of opportunities in the way you'll engage with customers. The more authentic you are, the stronger your brand and your reputation will be. But taking that first step to actually put up a hand is often the one that will struggle. And a good example to thread this to what I'm talking about with being a service provider and being here today. We're struggling for staff. There's a full unemployment out there. We're trying all sorts of different ways. We're talking to students coming into the university today and saying, we can, on the day that you might be free, we might be able to provide work and provide transport and provide that. And sometimes we'll have to go to our customers and be equally as honest and say, it's not about jump how high. We simply don't have the staff at the moment. We hope we will. We're trying this, that, X. This has succeeded. This has failed. What are you doing? How is this working out? So it's about saying how it is and being proactive and trying to improve and trying to find different solutions. And I suppose the thing I always tell the team at work is we've got to focus less on the problem, make the problem succinct and clear, but we need to explore solutions. And we're in a solutions game. I think that's one thing you sign up for when you're a manager. You're in the solutions game now. You're not in the problem game. So wasting time and energy on the problem is a big failure that you see a lot of the time. And that leads to that final one about competing for success. And the original term we used for this was edge. Lovely word. Doesn't have to happen all the time. And to say it's the spanner in the works is a bit dangerous because someone wants to be the spanner in the works every time. That gets very tired. But just to someone that and a good example is in the lean philosophy. Is there value in that step? We've been doing this the same way for so long. Is there value in this particular context? Can we do it in a different way? So we hire someone for a 39-hour week and we just believe that should be how we do it. Maybe we will have more value hiring for a 30-hour week or a 20, or maybe it's night times, maybe it's different things. So I suppose if you can bring that kind of mindset and parlance and character to your dealings with your staff and ultimately your customers, the reputation a company will have will be one of integrity, and the benefits will be long-term. And what you'll find with your customers is they'll forgive the delivery that you mightn't be able to make if it's got a good reason. And they'll work with you to find a way. And the outcome of it will be partnership. This one I'm not going to go through, but this again is just to give an idea. This is the type of thing that for years we were seeing customers show to us, this is our own now, this is what's coming from us. And I do say there isn't a multinational out there now that doesn't have core behaviours and doesn't have a strategic framework and doesn't have their purpose, mission, vision statement, all those good things, and strategy. And it's all, the thinking is to tie it together. The only, I'll just focus very briefly on one part of it. Down at the bottom we have what we call an operating way. So it's founded by the behaviours that I just showed in the previous slide. But what it is how you bring it into the everyday. It's a lean philosophy. Is there a daily performance management where you're looking at safety, customer complaints, delivery, productivity, in that order, in that descending order of importance. You're starting with your people, moving on to your customers, and then moving on to the efficiency of your business. These things, and it goes back to the cliche, but I firmly believe it, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And it goes back to the whole thing about hiring. You hire for character and you teach the competence. You do it the other way around, you could be setting yourself up for failure. And there's one thing I've learned in my own career, that's it. And I saw a previous slide here talking about the conscious incompetence and the conscious competence and all that sort of stuff. Character comes first, and I know I'm paraphrasing Stephen Covey a lot. If anyone's read The 7 Habits, he spends the first half of the book nearly just making sure that point is gotten across. It all starts with character. Not even personality, but character. And again, to go back to what I was saying about the pandemic, how that manifests, it's the everyday. The thing people do every day when they go to work. And to use the last quotation, C.S. Lewis on integrity, It's doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Probably preaching a bit more than I expected to, but anyway, I'm on a roll. It's a Saturday. Who cares? SSC, I mentioned them earlier, but it's part of what our own parent company's vision is, to just have a stronger foothold, to be a clean area solutions provider, to be ambitious, to say that we're not just a clean room garments provider that will put the garments there when you come into your dressing room. We're more. We provide more services, and that there's an underlying philosophy, mindset, and identity and brand that goes with that. But we've been really happy. We're a year now in partnership with SSC. We have them here alongside us today. The correlations between the two companies is great. Not only are we both based in Galway, not only have we both got a similar customer base, but like there's also on an operating level and on a behavioural level really, really strong. So for both sides, been very, very positive. Just a very small snapshot of the partners that we have, and yeah, look, we service a customer. We're not blind to that. They pay our wages. They're there at the end of the day. That's a core value. Think customer first. We're happy to say we serve customers, but the way it manifests, the way it works, is a partnership model. Final slide here, and it's a flyer that's available on the stands. We're looking for what our parent company, I don't like the term myself, white collar and blue collar roles. We've got production operative roles with both companies, facility operative, but we also have production managers, HR roles, lean managers, continuous improvement lead, and QC as well. So there's quite a variety there. And we've been saying it to people that have been coming to us, even if your background doesn't necessarily fit this 100%, if the right character is there, and if I want to walk the walk with some of the stuff I was talking about, if we see someone that looks like they'll be a fit, we'll do everything we can to find a place. And I think that's something that most companies are doing at the moment. Yeah, thank you very much. It's for a healthier and safer tomorrow. Not that was in that, but I just tried to, I suppose, give a picture of the operating space that we're in now. Certainly the recruitment thing, but also how things have changed over the past number of years. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Ciaran. That was great. So I suppose, I know you touched on a lot of things that I might be asking you question-wise, and I know you said that you're trying to hire for character first and foremost, but in terms of qualifications, background, or skills and competencies that you kind of are looking for, can you give us an outline of kind of the key areas, I suppose, that people should have in terms of qualification or background or experience?
Well, again, there's a combination of roles there. There are some entry-level roles where we'd be looking for people that are, maybe not necessarily third-level educated, but maybe have some work experience, and, we're not taking on everyone that comes that's knocking on the door. And I suppose the word we look for in the first 6 months is fit. And we even, you assess that at an interview level. In the other roles, definitely backgrounds in industrial engineering, in science, in microbiology are all spaces that we're very interested in. HR, people can have the CIPD and HR qualifications, but people that have also had management experience, even people that have had admin experience. We see the amount of people that end up in HR that start as recruitment consultants, so basically move from a sales role into a HR role. So yeah, your point is very well made. Character comes first, but there obviously has to be some boxes that need to be ticked, particularly in some of the more senior roles. The production manager one, of course, very critical too, so they need a bit of everything.
That's fair enough. I suppose as well then, by the sounds of it and what you said, you are really looking for employees, and you're not, you've loads of customers. So is it fair to say that, I suppose, if someone comes to work for you, they won't be bored?
It's a fair comment. Believe this is one thing we've said forever. No 2 days are ever the same. Especially Saturdays. But there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of changes with our customer. There's always a project on the go. One thing you notice, though, even with our production operative staff, how customer aware they are. They actually they know the schedules, they know the needs, they know the volumes, the usages, they'll know if something is out from without waiting for a KPI to tell them. They'll know that if volumes or something for a particular customer have gone awry or gone a little bit more. So there's a lot of build-up of that knowledge. And obviously we process to a schedule, and we have, the same kind of weekly schedules. But certainly from a project and in the middle space, no 2 days are ever the same.
Fantastic. And I'm going to give you one more chance to, I suppose, plug your competition if you'd like to plug your competition again. Oh, is that not yourselves, no?
Competition?
Oh, the CV. Was that someone else? Did I mistake that? Sorry. Never mind.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant actually a competitor competition.
Oh, no, sorry. I wasn't specific enough. No, they have a competition going if you hand in your CV. So I've just given you an opportunity to plug that again.
I hope you don't ask Little that. Here you go.
There we go, yeah.
Submit a CV and put you in a draw for a Clayton Hotel voucher. Thanks very much.
There you go. And their stand is just down in the middle there. So thanks a million for your time, Ciaran. Thanks a million.